Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Chat Like a Native, the podcast that helps you sound more and more like
like a native speaker?
yeah, like a native English speaker.
Exactly.
And today we're going to be diving into something that I think is going to be really helpful for everyone,
Okay.
which is how to describe people
Ooh.
in English.
Yeah.
Because I think this is something that we do all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
you're talking to your friends and they say, oh, I met this person.
Yeah.
Tell me about them.
Yeah, exactly.
What are they like?
Yeah, you're telling a story, and you want to, introduce the characters in your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we need to have the language to do that in a really compelling and interesting way.
Yes. And vivid,
Yeah.
so that people listening to us can really get a picture in their mind of who we're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So how would you even begin to,
Right.
frame this topic? Like, where do we even start?
Well, I think we could start with the basics.
Yeah.
Like when we describe somebody, we can talk about their physical appearance.
Right.
How tall are they?
Right. Their height.
Yeah, exactly. Their build.
Yeah.
Are they,
Big or small.
Yeah. Are they tall? Are they short?
Yeah.
What about their age?
Right. Are they young? Are they old?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to just stop there, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we go beyond just those very simple adjectives?
Yeah. We want to be more specific, I think, right? Like instead of just saying someone is tall,
Right.
we could use words like statuesque or towering if they're really tall.
Yeah.
Or if they're on the shorter side, maybe we could describe them as petite or compact.
I like that. I like compact.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't heard that one before
Yeah.
to describe a person.
Yeah. And it kind of depends on their build, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah, I like it.
So it's about, going beyond those general terms and choosing words that really create a more precise image.
Yes. And would you say it's also about focusing on specific features as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying someone has brown hair,
Okay.
you could talk about the way it curls naturally
Ooh.
or how it shines in the sunlight.
I like that.
Yeah. And what about their eyes?
Right.
Do they have piercing blue eyes that seem to see right through you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or maybe they have hands that are rough and calloused from years of hard work.
Right. Or, maybe they have a really distinctive, like a birthmark or a freckle.
A freckle or a dimple.
Yes.
Like when they smile.
Yes,
And that just becomes part of what you remember about them.
Yeah, that's so interesting you say that, because I remember this one time
Yeah.
I met this person and they had this one
Yeah.
bright green eye
Wow.
and one brown eye.
Oh, wow. That's really unique.
It was so interesting. And that's the first thing I remember about them.
Of course. Yeah.
And I'm sure they've heard that a million times.
Probably.
But it's just it was just so captivating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it makes them memorable.
Yes, exactly.
So those little details are really important.
Now, what about personality?
Personality.
Because obviously,
Yes.
describing what someone looks like is one thing.
Right.
But how do we describe,
Yeah.
someone's personality?
Well, I think, you want to use words that reveal their character.
Oh.
So are they, bubbly and energetic, like the life of the party?
Yeah.
Or are they more reserved and thoughtful?
Right.
Someone who observes quietly before speaking.
Okay, so we've got kind of the positive traits.
Yes.
But what about if we need to describe someone in a more,
Negative light.
negative way? Yeah.
Right.
Is there a way to do that without sounding too
Judgmental?
judgmental? Yeah.
I think there is.
Okay.
I think, you have to be careful with your word choice.
Right.
But for example, instead of saying someone is lazy, you could say they have a more relaxed approach to work.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Or instead of stubborn, maybe they're determined.
Oh.
Or strong-willed.
Strong-willed. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so I think you can still be descriptive without being overly critical.
Right. It's you're not saying anything that's not true.
Yeah.
But you're just choosing your words carefully.
Exactly. And using words that are more tactful.
Yes, tactful. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about, physical features.
Yes.
We've talked about personality.
Uh-huh.
What else can we do to, really make our description stand out?
Well, you know how we were talking about specific features before?
Right.
I think it's those little details
Yeah.
that make someone unique.
Yes.
I remember meeting someone once,
Okay.
and the thing that struck me was that they had this tiny gap between their front teeth.
Oh.
And it wasn't a flaw.
Yeah.
It just added a certain charm to their smile.
Mm.
And I always remembered them
Right.
because of that.
It's those little quirks,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
that make people interesting.
Yeah, and memorable.
Yeah, and memorable. Okay, so we've got, those little details.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm thinking about is, we need to be mindful of being culturally sensitive as well.
Oh, that's so important.
Because, what might be acceptable that, say, in one culture,
Yes.
might be offensive in another.
Exactly.
Right. So how do we kind of navigate that?
Well, I think it's always good to be aware of the context
Right.
and try to use language that's neutral and respectful.
Okay.
For example, terms related to body size can be quite sensitive.
Right.
So instead of saying someone is thin,
Yeah.
we could say they have a slender build.
Right. Or slim.
Yeah, slim, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really about choosing your words carefully.
Yes. Being mindful
Yes.
of who you're talking to and who you're talking about.
And the situation.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about all these different elements
Right.
of describing people.
Yeah.
But you said something earlier
Yes.
about it not just being the words we choose.
Yes. Tone of voice.
Yeah.
So important.
And body language.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
Imagine saying that someone is funny,
Okay.
but you say it with a sarcastic smirk
Right.
versus saying it with genuine warmth in your eyes.
Right, it's the same word.
The same word.
But the meaning is completely different.
Totally different.
Right, so we have to be mindful not just of what we say, but how we say it.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good advice. I know a lot of language learners sometimes,
Yeah.
myself included, we kind of fall into this trap of using too many adjectives.
Oh, yeah. Adjective overload.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We want to be so descriptive,
Yeah.
but it ends up sounding really clunky and unnatural.
Right.
So do you have any tips for how to
Yeah.
find that balance?
Well, instead of piling on all those adjectives,
Yeah, sure.
try to focus on just a few key traits
Okay.
that really capture the essence of that person. So maybe it's their infectious laugh.
Okay.
Or their kind eyes.
Yeah.
Or the way they just light up a room with their presence.
Right.
Choose those details that make them unique and memorable.
So it's really about quality
Yes.
over quantity.
Exactly.
Okay, and of course we have to think about context as well.
Yes.
Right? Because describing a friend
Yeah.
to another friend is very different
Very different.
from, introducing someone at work.
Exactly. So think about the situation.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Right.
What's the purpose of the description? And then you can adjust your language accordingly.
Adjust your language. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've talked about all these different things,
Right.
how can our listeners really practice this?
Oh, there's so many ways.
Yeah.
Visual learners might find flashcards with pictures helpful,
Yeah.
or you could try creating mnemonics.
Mnemonic?
Yes, those are memory tricks that connect words with funny images or rhymes.
So, for example,
So, for example, to remember the word gregarious,
gregarious.
which means outgoing.
Right.
You could think of Greg as ariously outgoing.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so you can have fun with it.
Yeah, make it memorable.
Exactly. And of course, nothing beats practice in real life conversations.
Real life conversation.
Yeah,
So get out there and talk to people.
exactly.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
I do too.
But I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Okay.
Think of someone
Yeah.
who has truly inspired you.
Okay.
And now imagine you have to describe them
Yeah.
to someone who's never met them.
Right.
What words would you use
Oh,
to capture their essence?
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think about,
Yeah.
how we can use language to really, honor the people that
Yes.
we admire.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us
It was a pleasure.
on Chat Like a Native. And we'll see you next time
Bye.
for another deep dive into the nuances of English. Bye.